Okay, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting of February 3rd, 2021. This meeting will now come to order. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our inspirational word for the day comes from the book of James. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Okay, our first item of business today is a guest presentation by Tim Carrion, Job and Family Services Director. Director Carrion, thank you for presenting today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation to be here to speak specifically on the ERA program, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program that we're actually partnering to put together. I'd also like to add a brief discussion about a PRC program that we're also involved in, and then another update about our facility, if that's okay. Okay. So our team at Jobs and Family Services is excited to partner with the Board of Commissioners to infuse over $9 million of needed resources into our community to assist families with rental and utilities assistance through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We were informed of the opportunity just a week ago and have already been contacted by over 100 families requesting assistance. We're currently collecting the information for the families in preparation for the rollout of the application process. We originally anticipated that we would begin taking applications on February 8th, but have decided to push that back to mid-February because we're still in the process of collecting guidelines for the dollars, and also have had the opportunity to be in contact with a consultant that actually has customized software that will assist us in processing the applications more efficiently and getting the dollars out into the community much quicker. All right. So we also today received information about the documents that families will need to present to us in order to qualify for the funds, which include a photo ID, Social Security cards for all household members, any income verification for the past 60 days for any members of the household that are 18 or older, landlord's name, address, and phone number, as in most cases, the checks for the rental assistance will actually be cut directly to the landlord. A copy of the signed lease and a W-9 for the landlord so that they can receive the funds. So fairly simple process in terms of documentation. We also received information this morning about income limits. And just so the community and the board has an idea, a family of 4 can make $60,800 or less and still qualify for this assistance. So what we're doing is we are partnering with an organization called Alita 360 in an attempt to streamline the process so that the dollars can make it to the families in need as quickly as possible. Alita 360 has worked with organizations for some time, and what they do is they customize software to actually fit like a glove with these dollars. So all the guidelines, everything will be built in. It will allow us to, again, cut checks as quickly as possible. But another great benefit from the software is it will allow us to determine how many funds are still available in real time. As we spend the money, it will calculate for us rather than us doing that manually. And beyond that, it will also complete reports for us so that once the dollars are out in the community and we need to report back to the entities that provided them to us, we'll be able to easily complete that process and move on to other projects. So that's what I have in terms of the ERA project, and I'll take any questions, but then I want to mention the exposure that we've gotten with this emergency rental assistance program has also allowed us to identify individuals that could qualify for our PRC program. And I'll talk briefly about that. Any questions about the emergency rental assistance program? Yes.
Director Carrion, the website that was released, are we up and running now? I know we were having an issue that first night.
You're absolutely right. We had challenges with the phone number, with the email address. Those were resolved that evening or the next morning, and at this time, daily, we're getting about 40 to 50 contacts of individuals that we're going to respond to quickly once we get this up and running.
Wonderful. Thanks for the update on that.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
I'll wait till he's done and I'll ask questions after you finish.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, since we were on topic, if it's okay, just had the question about, I just want to make sure that we have some understanding with the landlord, and there's something that's signed by the landlord, that we just don't bring somebody current on their rent, and then the landlord still ends up kicking people out. So I know that El Centro, when they were doing their housing assistance program, and I know the program I think they were orchestrating through the city of Lorain, they made sure that there was some understanding or some agreement with the landlord so that folks weren't brought current and then the landlord turned around and still bumped people out on the street. So I think that's important. I think the other important part of this program is that landlords themselves can apply, which is pretty significant and different from most programs. And then the only thing I would caution about is we're administering this program is that my understanding is that no more than 10% of these funds can be used for administrative costs. So whatever costs we're accruing, whether it comes to the software that you're adapting for this and purchasing or any other administrative costs, that they cannot exceed 10% of the total funds.
That's correct.
From what I understand. So,
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Also, I'm glad you mentioned another agency. We've been blessed with the opportunity to work closely with Lorain County Community Action Agency. The director and I interacted. They're also receiving these same funds, and part of the guidelines is strict measures on fraud prevention. Mm-hmm. So by implementing the software, we're going to be able to, in a sense, be able to track who's applying, so that if the same family comes up on our software that has already applied with another agency that's using the software, a flag will go up and alert us so that we can prevent any type of fraudulent activity. So yes, but I appreciate you mentioning that, because that's the other thing we've been able to do is connect with the Community Action Organization and really get some great insight as to how they've run their programs in the past and to assist us in developing our own.
Yeah, Jackie is amazing, very organized, very detailed, and always willing to help.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Well, so you're going to jump to mortgages, I think, right? On the other program?
Yes.
Okay, so can this program be used to bring people current, or is the one you're going to talk about next can help people who own their homes?
Yes. Well, are we going to, I sent you over the PRC update. Is that going to be at a future time, or is that going to be today?
It was going to be at a future time.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
the spoiler alert here?
No, it is a bit of a spoiler. So our PRC program, which is the Prevention, Retention, and Contingency Program, in the past has allowed us to assist families that needed mortgage assistance. In the last couple of years, the Board of Commissioners decided not to approve or to remove that from our plan. But we recently submitted a request to, again, include that in the plan, because we're finding that many of our families in Lorain County are in need of mortgage assistance.
Yeah, Commissioners, the director and I were talking about this, and this is something I was going to present at next week's board meeting.
Okay.
To go through, get the rental assistance done, and then also bring up next week about mortgages, because we are getting calls coming in with people that are struggling with their mortgage. As the director pointed out, this will help them. I just really want to stress the great job that Director Carrion is doing, reaching out to the community and making sure that they're aware of all the services that Job and Family Services provide. And I think we'll be hearing more about these services over the next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no, I appreciate, I got, when I notified some of these associations, that's probably why you're getting the notifications from landlords. Right now, what they're explaining to me, and these are some of the larger ones, that they're at about a 25% delinquency right now. And it wasn't
Wow.
that, it really wasn't that bad last year, when everybody started shutting down, because there was a lot of excess funds that was being delivered from the federal government to everybody individually, and then you had your tax refunds and everything else. And, but what's been happening this last 3-4 months has been a real struggle with everybody. And when I start hearing the numbers as rental delinquencies have increased to over 25%, that's bad. So I think we're on the same page. You know, we have to get these funds out by September. I like your goal. It'd be great if we could get these funds out, you know, before June. I'm a data guy, so I know we've already talked about this. What I'm going to be key looking at, which I like the software program that you're talking about, is we'll build in certain questions in which we can find out how many people actually did apply, how many people were declined, and why were they declined. And I'm, you know, if we can, like I said, in the process, the more you tell people that when you apply, you need this, this, and this, because what happens for our workers, I'm sure, is if they're just missing a social security card or an ID, then it could delay them.
You're absolutely
And
right.
so, I mean, why don't you share the numbers that you think this program, how quickly it would take to get this money into their hands?
So that's a good question. So we've had conversations with the auditor already, because sometimes that's where there may be a delay. So between processing the application in-house and getting a check cut through the auditor, we're expecting it to be 7 to 10 days before a family will actually have a check, or a family or a landlord will have a check in hand.
Is there a way with this program to verify that, so we can, with the auditor, that when, like, he can notify you that these checks have been released, so that we can make sure
I'll
that-
follow up and see so that we can track. And
I'd like-
I'm a data guy too, so
Okay.
I enjoy tracking and
Right.
making sure that we can use this information to better build the next project.
Well, not only that, is you know who's gonna get the phone calls, the three of us, when somebody doesn't get a check that they applied and it's been a
Right.
month, you
Right.
know? So it sounds like this, whatever you're talking about with this program that you just have, it sounds like we can customize it, and we can track the data and make sure that the money's getting spent properly. Helps.
If I may, I actually had a conversation with the auditor. They actually timestamp everything that comes in and then when it goes out. So they do have the capability of going through and monitoring it. So once we get the process in place and then we put the rec in order to go to the auditor to cut the check, they will receive the rec, timestamp it, and then when it goes out, they'll know the date that it came in and then how long it took for them to get out as well. And just real quick, as far as Commissioner Lundy with your question on the 10% fees, we're looking at potentially maybe 2% going towards the auditor in order to help any additional costs that he may occur from this time. So roughly $9.2 million, it's about $184,000 that would go to his office to cover for stamps, envelopes, and then any additional personnel that he may need. So.
Thank you. Anything else on the emergency rental assistance program? I just want to speak briefly about the PRC program because it dovetails into this conversation very well. And it's actually, the ERA program has actually allowed us to identify some families that may also qualify for the PRC program. So I want to share a little bit of formal information and then let, the board and the community know that this ERA program is just one of the many programs that we offer to assist families in Lorain County. But the PRC program is the Prevention, Retention, and Contingency Program and is designed to provide benefits and services needed to overcome immediate barriers to help families become and stay self-supporting. The PRC program provides non-recurring short-term crisis-oriented benefits and ongoing services that are directly related to one of the four purposes of temporary assistance for needed families, which is TANF, the TANF program. And rather than go into all the details, the types of services that we can provide through the PRC program are vehicle repairs, shelter expense. So currently it's rental assistance, but in the future potentially mortgage assistance and other shelter expenses, utilities assistance, and employment-related expenses. We also help to fund children's summer camps, school clothing program, and mentoring and tutoring programs. So the interesting thing about the PRC program is it's very unique. If there's a need that's in the community, as long as it falls within the guidelines, we can fund something that maybe isn't the common thing that's funded by organizations like ours. But I wanted to mention the PRC program since this is being broadcast, so that families in need will know that this rental assistance is just one small part of what we can do to assist and help them meet their needs. Any questions about the PRC program? I'd like to briefly, if you'll allow me, just share a quick facility status update relating to COVID-19, if that's okay. I know there's been some concerns about our employees and the health and safety of our employees, and I just wanted to share with the community that we've been doing everything possible to keep our team as healthy and safe as possible. And we're actually thankful to the Board of Commissions for agreeing to our recommendation to stagger our in-house work schedule to every other day. I think that's assisted in the transition and allowed us to be able to ramp up to having everyone in the building at the same time.
And just for a point of,
Not at this time. Let Director finish, please.
it's the majority of the board.
This has alleviated some of the challenges of transitioning 215 employees back into the building after working remotely for about 9 months. We've experienced some challenges over the last several weeks and have worked very closely with the Board of Commissioners, County Administrator, Director Comer of the County Public Health Department, Facilities Director Gross, and Director Williamson of 911 to keep our facilities as safe as possible and to keep our team healthy. Through that collaboration with those individuals and others, we've employed several strategies, some of which were suggested directly by the Department of Public Health and others that are above and beyond what they've suggested. So we've asked every individual, every employee to self-monitor daily for symptoms prior to their arrival. Obviously wear masks when not in their office or when they're in the company of others. Each work area has disinfecting supplies available, and there are several sanitizing stations around the facility. Also, our maintenance staff are on a strict schedule to disinfect all door handles and common area copiers and printers every 2 hours. If an employee is experiencing COVID-related symptoms, they are instructed to leave the facility and immediately schedule a COVID test. The workstation of the individual and any commonly touched surfaces in the area are disinfected by the maintenance staff. The employee that was experiencing symptoms is asked to quarantine and not return to the facility until they have received doctor's information or a negative test result. And as suggested by the Public Health Department, if any employee is experiencing COVID-related symptoms or test positive, we then conduct an in-house investigation where we ask the individual of anyone that may have been exposed to them, and also, if that is the case, request that they also quarantine. Okay. If any employee tests positive for COVID, the Lorain County Health Department generally is contacted, and because some of these instances are unique, we ask for their direction. And as advised by the Lorraine County Health Department, we conduct an in-house investigation to track any other potential exposures in the building by using the 6-foot, 15-minute guideline. Any individual that may have been exposed to an employee that tests positive is asked to quarantine for 10 days and monitor the symptoms. If they are unable to work from home, they'll be instructed, they'll use any sick or vacation time needed. So basically, I just wanted to share with the board that, the other thing that we've done with the assistance of Director Dan Gross and his team is we've been fogging the entire building, which is 87,000 square feet, so it's a bit of a challenge, but we've been fogging the building every weekend to make sure that every surface in the building is disinfected and germ-free to protect the health of our staff. So I just wanted to share that information because I know there have been some questions so that everyone knows that we're doing everything we can to keep our team safe.
Thank you, Director Carrion. I believe Commissioner Lundy had a question, and then I will have a question.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, no, I guess I just wanted to state for the record that that was the majority of the board opinion to have folks return on the alternating schedule. I just want to make sure that was factually correct. And
Thank you.
And as it relates to talking with the health director, I believe in, I think you said generally contacted. I really think the health director should be contacted whenever we have a workplace case, just from the standpoint of having so many people in and out of that building at one time. I think that's important. I know we've always worked closely with Dave Koval in the health department. They do a great job. They can give you good guidance as well too. And I would just say that I think, it is important that all the commissioners get an update from you. I was not made aware that we had more than half a dozen cases over there until I was contacted by a union representative in an email that was sent to the commissioners. So it's important that I get regular updates from the administrator and from you regarding any cases that surface, and also how this is impacting with employees having to quarantine, those types of things. But I still contend that we should be working remotely for the safety of our workers. They were doing a good job doing that, and will continue to do a good job if they have the opportunity to work remotely.
Thank you.
Yes, can you go over just quickly the staggered schedule for us and how many days a week?
Yes. So rather than have 215 people in the building at a time, what we've done is we've staggered their work schedules. We've divided each team into two, an A and B team, and the A team arrives Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday the second week, and alternate that schedule. And B team does Tuesday, Thursday the first week, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it's actually worked out extremely well. And coming back after being completely remote would have been a challenge to have everyone in the building at the same time. So this staggered schedule has allowed us to really ramp up to, and allowed us to make decisions and implement policies to really protect, not only protect the staff, but also just logistically to make sure that things were in order. The original plan was that as of February 8th, we would return to a full-time schedule in the building, but the administrator and I have discussed the status of the building, and we've agreed that remaining on a remote schedule for another month makes sense at this time.
So just a follow-up question, just so the public understands. So you are doing a staggered schedule of teams in an 87,000 square foot facility.
Yes.
Can you give the public an idea just how big is that so everybody understands the room to spread out?
I've been there 3 weeks now, and I believe Friday I still got lost. It's a big facility, and we have the luxury of, there's the cubicles are all for the most part are taller. So when you're in your cubicle, you're pretty, or if you have an office, you're pretty much protected from others, and others are protected from you. And the areas are divided in a way that for the most part, I mean, there are some common areas, some areas where there's a commonly used printer or copier, and in those areas, we have disinfecting wipes, hand sanitizer, and we're doing our best to keep those areas as germ-free as possible and virus-free as possible. But yeah, it is a very big facility, and for the most part, there are some areas that are a little more confined, and we've been doing our best to keep those individuals kind of spaced out. And the thought behind the staggering also was that the teams would be divided as much as possible in terms of proximity, so that if I had an office mate that was close to me, they would hopefully be on an alternating day.
Okay. Before we get to County Administrator waiting on deck, Commissioner Moore, did you have,
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something.
okay, County Administrator?
No, I just wanted to say, also, individuals who have a medical document stating that they're at high risk, they are working remote. So, we have the 250 individuals, we're doing a staggered shift on it, so 125 each, plus the people that have documented medical issues. These individuals are working remotely. I think it's very important to note, there was an article actually with the health director talking about it today, only 6 confirmed cases at Job and Family Services, and that it was not and is not a hotspot. Unfortunately, the email that went out by the union ended up putting a little fear in some people, making it sound like, we're not protecting them, we're not doing everything that's necessary to create a safe and healthy work environment. And I believe the health director actually stated, Job and Family Services is doing more than what most departments or businesses are doing in the county. And that, again, is a direct reflection and dedication of our director, Tim Carrion.
Thank you, Administrator Williams.
How many, I know we weren't here last year. How long, they've been off, what, since April?
It's my understanding they were out about 9 months.
And how many people actually, they still had people coming in, did they not?
Correct.
How many people were coming in?
I believe about 75, 80 people.
75 to 80?
Yes.
Out of that 75 to 80, it seems that all 215 people, even the ones working at home, received hazard pay of $2,500 in December 18th.
I'm not aware of that, but I would assume you're right. That was before I arrived, but you're probably right.
Avon Lake schools have been full boat since September. They're doing 5 days in person.
Yeah.
I go to Speedway, no plastic for 6 months. I go to Walmart, Giant Eagle, no plastic. They're doing masks maybe in April or May. It's time to get back to work. Sorry, that's it. See ya.
Thank you.
I just have one, actually 2 questions.
Yes.
Director Carrion. How many hours a week are you working? And does your wife get to see you? I know you're working hard over there.
I thought
So
she
thank
paid
you
us
for,
to not have 'em.
thank you for all you're doing. I know you're working hard over there.
Thank you. Thank you
And
all
your
very
team.
much. I appreciate the time.
Okay, moving on. The first item of business is A, resolutions. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Investments.
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Moore, made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Here we go again, Teresa. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yep.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, number 2, appropriations.
Appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
3, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yep.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 4, advances and repayments, there were none. Number 5, requisitions.
Move to approve?
I would like
Is that this
to
one?
second,
Yes.
under the condition that we remove items number 420 and 421 as my motion.
Yes, I think we're waiting on,
Prefer to have the motion reread without items number 420 and 421.
we are waiting for one more estimate on those too, so we will remove those. Madam Clerk?
I guess the only thing I would ask is, I know the budget director sent me for signature at 9:15 this morning. So normally I would see these the day before, just to make sure there's no last-minute revisions or changes, or if I have questions. So I would just ask that the budget director send it to me a lot earlier than 15 minutes before the meeting for signature.
Okay, well,
Duly
without
noted into the
signatures,
record? Into
I'm
the
sorry.
record? No,
For
go
the
ahead.
electronic signature.
Yep.
well, no, without the signature, I mean, we should all have a copy, I would think. Not the originals, but copies, 24 hours, right?
I'm not sure how he does it, but I believe he
Yeah.
starts the process on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
But even the clerk didn't have the latest. So, you know, so I'm just saying I need to see it a lot sooner than that, at least the day before.
No. And I'm a paper chaser, so I was hunting him down Friday for him.
So there's a motion with a second with the removal of 420 and 421. Is that appropriate, or would you rather have a new motion? Okay.
Okay, the motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore, with the two deleted or removed. Any discussion, any further discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 6, travel, there was none. Number 7, bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 8. Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, the commissioners may recess into an executive session to discuss personnel and new hires and various board appointments. The next item of business is we're good on that, right, Teresa? Yeah, we approve later. The next item of business is number 9. I move to approve the meeting minutes and waive the reading of the minutes of January 27th, 2021.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on. The next item of business is number 10. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in a contract with Taylor Oswald effective February 3rd, 2021 through May 1st, 2024 as the county's local insurance agent for Corsa.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
I would just like to state that I won't be able to support this today. I haven't been able to see a contract. And also, I noticed we have an effective date of, February 3rd, for today. I haven't been able to see a contract. In fact, I haven't been able to see a contract for a number of these items. So as a result, I'll have to vote no today.
Well, I can't say when I received this late in the day yesterday, I was able to go back and get the original resolution. It wasn't necessarily a contract, it was a resolution with the cover letter that I was able to pull. County Administrator Williams, will you please speak to that?
Well, yeah, there was no contract with the previous one. It just states, and in here, we're going to do a 30-day cancellation. The fees is actually, we're not changing carriers. We're going to still remain with Corsa, and this is the broker of agent. So the fees will remain the same. We're just changing the broker of agent. So I put in here today's date through the 24th, just because of the cycle that it goes on an annual basis. So it comes up every May 1st. And then this individual actually will not receive their commission until May of 2022.
Okay. May of 2020. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
No.
The next item of business is number 11. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in a contract with Andrew McDonald of Velocity Advisors effective February 3rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2023 as the county's representative for the Supplement 125 insurance benefits for county employees.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
Once again, Madam President, I haven't seen supporting documentation. I did ask for some information. Once again, this was, a late add to the agenda, and I had asked for supporting documentation. The county administrator did provide that to me. I guess the two parts of supporting documentation, one showed an effective date of January 5th, another one showed an effective date of January 14th. Of course, we're sitting here on the 3rd approving this, and it does show an effective date of February 3rd, but once again, it was a late add, and not seeing supporting documentation early enough. I'll be voting no.
Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
No.
Next item of business is number 12. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Rescind Resolution 2470 adopted August 5th, 2020, approving the renewal of the consulting agreement with National Benefits Program in Columbus. Terminate said agreement effective February 3rd, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
Madam President, I guess I would have concerns about, an agreement that was entered into last year, whether there's any legal ramifications as a result of rescinding that agreement. I did ask for supporting documentation. There was supporting documentation that was provided to me this morning. And I understand this is some feedback from legal counsel. Once again, I'm being asked to make a decision without the benefit of having supporting documentation to make that voting decision. And because of that and concerns about potential litigation over an agreement that was entered into on August 5th of 2020, I'll be voting no.
Okay, I was here at work yesterday afternoon when this came in and was here till 6:30 last night. The previous board had a month-to-month contract with National Benefits Program, Inc. for the National Benefits Program. At some time between August 20 and January 2021, National Benefits Program entered into a transaction with Assured Partners, whereby the services previously provided to Lorain County under the agreement are now being provided by Assured Partners. We are now choosing to move on and part ways with them. Commissioner Moore, anything to add?
Now, there's 88 counties and school systems. There's 18 different school systems here. Multiply that by 88 counties. You got municipalities throughout the state of Ohio. You got townships. Nobody has a contract for this. This is a broker of record. Nobody signs a 2-year contract for this. Good luck with any legal if you think you're going to sue us. The bottom line is, this is a service agreement. They're all month to month, and to lock in our county for 2 years makes this questionable on why it was done. So I'll be supporting it.
Well, and again, I would just state for the record that the only reason I have the legal opinion to even look at this morning is because I requested it. So if the administrator is going to be the point of contact for any feedback coming back from attorneys, the information needs to be shared with the entire board, and that would include me. Thank you.
Okay, Administrator Williams.
Just to clarify, I sent that out to all three commissioners this morning. The legal opinion on that. So that went out to all three commissioners this morning. Commissioner Hung.
You had it yesterday.
I got it yesterday, and I sent it out this morning. I was also here till 11 o'clock last night working on negotiating a deal that I'll be talking about in my report as well. So along with some other union negotiations. So I apologize, but again, I started at right around 8 o'clock, and then I left here at about 10:30 last night. So I do apologize for getting that to the board late this morning. As far as the contract goes, there was no contract. The previous contract they had was 4 years. The company in question, the broker of record, as soon as they signed the contract, was then sold. So as far as litigation goes, I believe that we're on sound ground, and you know, my recommendation to the board would be to move forward.
Thank you,
Okay.
Administrator Williams. And I was here yesterday afternoon and was able to research this because I was in the building. So thank you.
Can I make a point of clarification on this? We've talked about this maybe a little bit before. There is no opinion that has been issued on this point. My office has not issued an opinion
No.
on that under the state. When, you know, Commissioner Lundy talks about an opinion. For our purposes, an opinion from a prosecutor's office has a specific statutory meaning. No opinion has been issued. Whether the board has received advice from outside counsel or not, it doesn't make it an opinion. So I want to make sure that we're clear what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay?
So you want me to refer to it as what? Attorney-client communication, work product, which is privileged and confidential? How am I supposed to refer to it?
Well, I think there's a difference between an advice and an opinion.
Okay.
And that's all. I want to make sure that when we talk about opinions, we're talking about what the statute says. But, you know, a formal document from my office becomes an opinion. You can get advice from counsel. We've discussed that a little bit in the past, but it's different than an opinion. And when you use the term opinion on that, I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
It would be considered advice from legal
Correct.
counsel.
Yeah,
Correct, it's not an opinion.
that's the only.
That's fine. It's
Oh.
difficult for me to get an opinion from the prosecutor's office, so I
We
guess
haven't
I'm
issued an
mixing up my
opinion.
terms.
We have
So
not issued an opinion to this board at this point.
No.
We haven't had one request.
the
and we
majority of the
haven't-
board, you've not
Pardon?
issued. To the majority of the board, you mean?
To the board itself, we have not issued an opinion. Correct.
Yeah.
To the majority.
Right, the majority of the board would have to put in written documentation to the prosecutor asking for their legal opinion.
Correct.
We have not done that.
That's correct.
Okay, Administrator Williams, let's just clarify. We had a company, it's National Benefits Program. We had them for years. They were on a year-to-year basis, correct?
Actually, there was no contract.
I know, it was a
Right.
okay, it was a
Right.
year-to-year basis with no contract. Now, in August of 2020, they decide that they want to enter into a contract with the previous board for a term of 3 years and 5 months, which is what,
Correct.
when I did the math, that's what I came out with. So after years of being month-to-month or no contract, August of 2020, they now want a 3.5-year contract. The previous board signs on to that, and then did they sell the company? Is that what they did?
The broker did sell the company to another agency.
Okay,
So, and we can go through, as stated in the advice that was given by legal counsel, there are sections of the ORC that we can take a look at if needed. So,
okay. And
again,
I understood this, but I appreciate you making the clarification for the purposes of the media and the public, so they understand it.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
No.
The next item of business is number 13. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and appoint Minutemen HR Insurance Agency LLC Cleveland as insurance agent and broker of record for Lorraine County for scope of services to locate, monitor, negotiate, structure, review, and administer county life insurance, healthcare benefits, dental, vision, 2021 prescription drug benefits, stop-loss coverage, and similar employee-type benefits effective February 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay. Minutemen is our current third-party administrator for the workers' compensation claims. Our safety risk manager, Johnette Jackson, has reported that they have partnered with us since 2007, and she has been very happy with the work product they deliver. By working with Minutemen, their expert claims management have assisted Lorain County in reducing the county's overall claims costs during that period, saving taxpayers money. They have done a good job, and I look forward to having them in this role as well. Commissioners?
Yeah, I'd agree. They do a good job, and I'm familiar with the vendor and the good work they do.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
The next item of business is number 14. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Excuse me. Amend Resolution 2115, adopted January 4, 2021, regarding Lorain County's healthcare plan. Said amendment is to provide county employees to be eligible to participate in county plan on date of hire by the county.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to community development. The next item of business is number 15.
Enter into revolving loan fund administration. Oh, sorry. Please hold. I'll start over. Enter into revolving loan fund administration agreement with the Ohio Development Services Agency for the term of 3 years, beginning retroactive to January 1st, 2021, and ending December 31st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 16. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Advertise for public hearings for update of special purpose flood damage reduction resolution. Said notice will be in the Morning Journal on February 8th and 22nd, and on the website. Hearings will be February 16th and March 2nd at 9:30 a.m., and commissioners will approve on March 3rd.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is, we're moving on to sanitary engineer, number 17.
Approve and enter an engineering services agreement with K.E. McCartney and Associates in the amount of $24,420 to prepare the electrical engineering document for the sanitary sewer pump station as part of the Broadway Sanitary Sewer Extension, and will be paid from the Q Construction Project Apple Pie account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. I have it written down here wrong. I apologize. Any discussion from the board? Okay, electrical engineering documents are required for the sanitary sewer pump station that is included as part of this project, which the previous board adopted, resolution number 2147 in February of 2020. So it's $24,420, and it's the Carvana project. So,
Yeah, looking forward to that getting going, and it's coming up out of the ground, and looking forward to it officially getting started, I guess I should say.
yes. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 18. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in a contract with Greenman Pedersen, Inc. in the amount of $372,008 to provide construction administration and inspection services for LOR CR1 11.56 project in the Lorain Sheffield Townships. 80% will be funded by ODOT. Remaining 20% will be provided by OPWC in the Q Construction, Lorain County Sanitary Engineer, Northridge Road Project account.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay, this is the Northridge Road Resurfacing and Waterline Replacement Project that we approved the paving contractor for last week. This is the Construction Administration and Inspection Services. This is being funded 80% by the Ohio Department of Transportation and 20% by Ohio Public Works and Q Construction, the Lorain County Sanitary Engineer Northridge Road Project account. I apologize, clerk, I may have repeated some of the stuff you said.
That's okay.
Okay. Everybody okay? Okay, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 19. Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk?
Sorry. Authorize sanitary engineer, prosecutor, and administrator to negotiate and amend with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District to accept the permanent parcel numbers 1200-021, 101-0114, and 1200-021-105033, known as Riverside Trail Subdivision in Columbia Township, into their sanitary sewer service area. This development
Sorry.
This development consists of 69 single-family sublots with adjoining property along the south side of Sprague Road and along the west of Columbia Road, State Route 252.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board?
I don't know, there's somebody here, is there any, would you like to add to anything that we are voting on right now, or are you okay, or?
I'm fine. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay. You came all the way out here, I thought I'd at least recognize you a little bit.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, can you read into the record the name of the person?
Rob Kleiber.
Robert
Thank
Kleiber.
you. Thank you, just so
Sorry.
everybody knows.
Sorry, Bob.
And I had his, I was fumbling for the card here to read your name. I apologize. Okay, great. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Moving on to the Office of the Engineer. The next item of business is number 20. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Advertise for bids for various off-road ditch maintenance services. Notice to be in the Morning Journal on February 19th and 26th and open at 2 p.m. on March 11th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 21.
Approve and enter in a professional service agreement with Adaptive Engineering Group, LLC of Lorain, Ohio, in the amount of $32,500 for development of plans and specifications for the Lorain County Guardrail Phase 7 project. This will be paid from the engineer bridge account and authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors' approval as to form.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay, the project consists of updating 3 sections of outdated guardrail in Lorain County. The construction plans priced at $32,500 will be funded by the engineer's bridge professional services account. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 22. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorize engineer to proceed by force account for normal and general maintenance and repair during the year 2021 on county roads for the safety of the traveling public.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes?
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 23. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Authorize posting of load limit signs that state weight limit reduction by 25% on various county roads for the thaw and moisture period in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5577.07, effective February 1st, 2021 through May 1st, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we are going to be Moving on to the reports section, right? That's where we're at, right, Teresa? Okay, so we'll be moving on to the report section of our agenda. And first up would be a report from our county administrator, Mr. Tom Williams. Mr. Williams, are you available for your report? I know he was here.
Yeah, he left again.
He is just like a butterfly, isn't he? But I think we should probably wait 30 seconds. Mr. Williams, County Administrator? Dave, maybe you can check the time. Give Mr. Williams, maybe he had to pop in the bathroom or something.
Ferris.
Ferris? Let's give him 30 seconds.
Bueller.
What? Who? What?
I'm a movie guy, sorry. So,
Ah, there he is, and he found his suit jacket. Mr. Administrator Williams, we are ready for your report.
To the board, I was just finishing up some business with Director Carry-On, so it took me outside for a bit.
Thank you, sir.
This morning, I received 3 resignations from the Lorain County Port Authority. The resignations come from James Cortez, Frank Titilio, and Ben Fligner. And with the resignations are stated different reasons. We can go into this into executive session. And I will ask that we go into executive session to discuss personnel issues and appointments. With this, I would like to thank the Port Authority board members as stated, James Cortez, Frank Titilio, Ben Fligner, for their exemplary service as board members of the Lorain County Port Authority. These individuals played an instrumental role in helping the Port Authority foster economic development in Lorain County. The people of Lorain County owe these men a debt of gratitude for their leadership, and I wish them well. With this, and again, I apologize because with getting the resolutions, I would like to make a recommendation, and I have a resolution here, if I may bring it up. I have 4 of them, 1 for the clerk and for the 3 board members. Madam President, may I present this to the clerk?
Yes, you may. Now, Madam Clerk, do we need a motion to add something to the agenda? Is that what we're doing?
Since it's under his report, you can just go ahead and approve or not approve. And the resolution once it's read, you don't have to.
I don't have to make the motion to add? Okay.
With what I'm presenting, our current board, Port Authority Board, who basically handle money for economic development projects, is currently at 5. With the 3 resignations and everything that we're looking at doing with the Port Authority with this in the next 4 years, my recommendation would be to expand the board from 5 members to 7 members. And I have a list of individuals that, again, we can talk about in executive session. By increasing the board, we will bring in additional views, getting some individuals from the southern part of the county, bringing in individuals who have business experience to replace the board members that are leaving, and also experience in finance. So what I would like is for the board to consider this and going through and approving the resolution to increase the board from 5 members to 7 members.
Mr. Administrator,
That's the end of
so
my report.
may
If you have
may we
questions,
ask
I'm here.
questions? So when we're going from 5 to 7, so that kind of distributes the workload. Obviously, you usually have some people that work a little more than other people. So your idea is then to distribute the workload and have more people working together on projects.
Correct. And to, again, get other communities involved. You know, one of the members I will recommend to you is from the southern part. Great background, and is going to bring true value to this board, so.
Okay, and then as you said, when we get into executive session, you'll be discussing the pool of possible candidates
Correct.
with us. Okay. Anything else from the board?
Oh, I would just say that, first off, for those who are leaving the port, I think they've done amazing work. People need to realize that the Port Authority plays a major role in economic development in the county, has been involved in major economic development projects. I think Bendix probably being the most recent one. There's a lot of heavy lifting, and the port helps to make it possible for business deals to come together much better, often through synthetic leases that provide great advantages to businesses looking to grow and looking to build. So I want to thank the board for the board members for all that they've done. At the same time, as you're proposing to expand the board, this is the first I've heard of it. So it's, I don't see what the rush is, why we couldn't have some more discussion about it. But I think the board has functioned well as 5 members. I know that in government, we're all often accused of government being too big. And, it seems like, we're growing from 5 to 7 when we have 5 as a model that's been working well. I realize, I guess, there's no limitations on how much you can grow the board. Maybe there's a few other people and you want to make it 9, maybe you want to make it 11, whatever it may be. But I think the board has been functioning well at 5, and so at this point, I guess I wouldn't see the need to expand to 7. And I think members of the board have worked well with the 5 model, and and this just coming to light today, not having heard about wanting to expand the board, I just don't see what the rush is and why we can't spend a little bit more time figuring out why we need to go to 7 instead of 5. But I think 5 was a good working number. And as we find out with a lot of these boards, and we found out, in Columbus, is just the more you expand these boards, the tougher it is to necessarily get everybody, together for meetings. And normally people sit on a board, especially like this, have very demanding schedules. So the 5 model probably works a little bit better than 7, but I just think that the 5 model works well.
If I may, Commissioner, one of the reasons I'm proposing 7 is with the 3 members resigning, we're going to have to go through and hold a special meeting, the new board. And then they're going to have to redo their administration. And then bringing in other individuals who have different strengths in this is going to be helpful. Again, not to make an assumption, but I would assume that I would be on this in order to be the eyes and ears for the commissioners, and then bringing in other individuals who have the backgrounds in finance and business, and then also economic development would be beneficial for this board.
Commissioner Moore, I forgot one thing. I know we take turns. Can I say one? I did forget to say I wanted to thank the previous board for their years of service, and that was a very nice statement that you made, Administrator Williams, so thank you.
20 years ago, I happened to work with a bipartisan effort with Commissioner Vassy and Commissioner Blair, and we created a lot of economic programs. This is the one that was created 20 years ago, and you know what? It needs to be cleaned up. I am talking to very large employers that will need our assistance. This is a fantastic tool to lure corporations here that will provide strong jobs. To see 3 days after our election in November that the Port Authority was ordered to repay money, which I still can't confirm whether this money was repaid, and that the state auditor says that this mathematical errors decreases the reliability of the financial data, concerns me. What concerns me also is some of the people that were employed there that were more political than they were resumes. They had to go out of the county to get a payroll company in 2019 in June to correct some of their sloppy paperwork. understating deferred payments of $373,000. With a lot of help from people, in March of 2001, we worked, again, bipartisan, to get $1.5 million to start this Port Authority. I never thought I'd be here to see this, but the deal was the first 10 years, you had to pay interest on the 1.5 through the Port Authority. And then after that, you paid 50% of that. And on March 7th, again, I didn't think I'd be here to see this, but that 1.5 million frees up on March 7th of this year. So the Port Authority is going to be an essential tool for the future of this county. And I've met with the Lorain City Port Authority, another great group of people, and shared with them the collaboration that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for adversary. We're looking to work together. They appreciated that comment. We're going to have a very diverse board of private sector people, government, and people that are fiscally responsible on that board. And we'll talk more in executive session on the appropriate hires for the new employees for this Port Authority. So I'm glad I was here when it was created, and I'm glad to be here to fix it. Thank you.
Okay, did you have anything else to add, Administrator Williams?
That's it.
Thank you for your report.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, since we have added it under County Administrator Tom Williams' report, would you please read the resolution into the record?
Authorizing the expansion of Lorraine County Port Authority Board of Directors from 5 members to 7 more members in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 4582.27.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any further discussion from the board?
I guess I'd like to understand, it's based upon comments made by the administrators, is the plan to add staffing as well, too? Is that part of the plan, or?
Well, we'll be discussing the new director in executive session, if he can get accepted from all 3 of us. So that's some of the personnel issues. The way the board works is the commissioners control the director. We can hire the director, but we can't terminate or hire the rest of the staffing. The board of directors at the port does that.
That's what I wanted to make sure we all understood.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, and we'll be discussing that in executive session, who the candidates would be.
Correct.
Okay, good. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Lundy.
No?
Let me just take my notes here. Okay. All right, we are moving on to the Assistant County Prosecutor, Mr. Dan Petticord. You are up, sir.
Thank you. I will be brief. And hopefully you can hear me this time. I don't have much to say. I do have a short update on the piece of litigation we talked about last week in executive session, so I'd ask at the end of the public portion of this meeting that we move into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
And I'm writing that down so I remember it.
Then you wouldn't have to hear from me at all.
Pending litigation. All right. Now. Okay, moving on to the Commissioner's report. Commissioner Lundy.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I'd like to say I'm really thrilled to see that we're moving forward with the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Appreciate the update from the director. As far as I'm concerned, can't get it done soon enough. Hopefully, we get the information out, as Commissioner Moore pointed out, so everybody has the proper documentation. As you'll find as new commissioners, when we have concerns expressed to us about initiatives at Jobs and Family Services, generally what it ends up being is that folks didn't show up with the proper documents that were needed to process everything. So if we can avoid that at the beginning, we'll get things through a lot faster, and certainly hoping we can provide some assistance on mortgages as well, too. And I think what's important to point out about that program when I was looking at the notes there is that The dollars are available, I think, through that mortgage assistance program, but it can only be if you're moving into a property in the county, not outside of county, so the dollars aren't going out of county, which is always a big concern. The other thing I just wanted to bring to the attention of the board before your arrival, the county auditor has been in a dispute with Nexus, the pipeline folks, and they came into Lorain County and made a impressive presentation. And obviously, since that's regulated by the federal government, there is no way of stopping that project, even if we wanted to. And so they were certainly going to be putting the pipe in the ground. But the big part of their presentation was all the tax dollars that were going to come into Lorain County because of the value of that pipe in that system. And I'm disappointed to see that once again Nexus is back at the table in the state with the Ohio Department of Taxation, seeking reduced values and lower values. First, it started with the original assessment by the state tax commissioner, reducing the original value of $127 million down to $111 million. So, unfortunately, the state tax commissioner has already given them wiggle room to $111 million. However, the contention of Nexus is that the value should be $50 million. So just so you have that for perspective, $127 million is the original assessed value, and now their position is that the reduced assessed value should be $50 million. And the reason that this is so important is because of the reliance of the communities where that pipeline goes through, the various school districts, Firelands, Keystone, Midview, Oberlin. Just to give you an idea of the impact on them, Firelands would lose under this lower value $662,000, Keystone $915,000, Midview $882,000, Oberlin over $1 million. The hit to Lorain County alone is $955,000. I talked to the auditor. We're going back to bat, back to the table on this one, and bringing out the bat again to see what we can do to resolve this issue and to make sure that there's a fair value that goes in place. The sad part is that these kind of fights can go on for years, and while the fight goes on for years, the company can make the assertion that they're only going to pay what they think the value is. So this is going to have a very negative impact on our schools and on our communities. So I would encourage people to probably write your legislators and tell them the concern you have about the impact it's having on your communities and your schools, and that all we're looking for from the Department of Taxation is a fair value. I certainly don't think something that was originally assessed a value of $127 million should be at $50 million based upon the company's claims. So just another example of a utility company trying to take people to the cleaners, and that's got to stop. So I would also urge members of the media, if you have questions, to contact the auditor and speak with him about it, because I know he's getting ready to go to bat again on this issue. And just an update for the board on our community protection meeting yesterday with Dave Koval, Lorain County Public Health. He says that cases in the county are going down. However, there's concern about another wave hitting in March, and that's because we're seeing these other variants and strains of those variants that are starting to impact a lot of states. I guess they're more contagious. The vaccinations, it's important to point out for the seniors, when you go for the vaccinations, if they tell you that the vaccinations are at 9 o'clock at the community college, come over there at 9 o'clock. If you come over at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're sitting in your car for 2 hours, and then you end up in line for another hour, and so you've got 3 hours of the day in there. And I know how that works. That generally the senior community will get there early, but you can certainly shorten your visit by doing that. So, and I think they had more folks that complied with the starting time last time. They had less of a wait, and it worked out a lot better. Also on the Johnson & Johnson, the one shot, I know there's been questions raised about the efficacy on that. I think it's around 66%. And just as we've been informed by the health department, and then also Dr. Stark at the Cleveland Clinic, I mean, she just wants everybody to know that, even though the efficacy is lower, it still provides great protection and can save lives. In fact, the likelihood of severe cold symptoms were almost completely eliminated, and there were no deaths related to COVID amongst those individuals who received the J&J vaccine in their trials. So the bottom line is whatever vaccine you can get it, and get it when it's certainly your turn. And that completes my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Commissioner Moore, would you like me to go or would you like to go next?
I have no report.
Oh, you have no report. Okay. Well, I apologize, then I will be taking the time up for both of us, Commissioner Moore, because mine's a little lengthy this week. Today, we will be waiving the reading of the board correspondence due to a lengthy executive session that we have scheduled. I will go over 2 items of note for the public on that report and also share that you can find this information on our website for your viewing pleasure. Number 1, Lorain County Chamber Connection Events registration for the following events can be found at loraincountychamber.com. February 11th, Coffee and Conversation scheduled at 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. February 17th, Safety Council from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. February 23rd, Lunch and Learn from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Number 2, County Chamber Champions congrats to Lorain County Urban League on receiving the Advocate of the Year Award from Ohio Association of County Behavioral Health Authorities. Ed Skimmon, co-founder of Emerge and LoraineCounty.com, on being named Kevin J. Flanagan Business of the Year at the Chamber annual meeting. Last but not least, congratulations to Licata Way as they celebrate their 40th anniversary in 2021. The actual anniversary date is in July, but I'm sure we'll be mentioning them again and all the good work that they do. So now the more lengthy part of the report, we had a $400,000 requisition to approve, and I just wanted to go over with for my fellow board members and the public with Tyler Technologies, and that has to do with our 911 center. So our CAD, our computer-aided dispatch, consists of a suite of software packages used to initiate public safety calls for service dispatch and maintain the status of responding resources in the field. It's generally used by emergency communications dispatchers, call takers, 911 operators, and centralized public safety call centers, as well as by field personnel utilizing mobile data terminals. A CAD system consists of several modules that provide services at multiple levels in the dispatch center in the field of public safety. These services include call input, call dispatching, call status maintenance, event notes, field unit status and tracking, and call resolution and disposition. CAD systems also include interfaces that permit the software to provide services to dispatchers, call takers, and field personnel with respect to control and use of analog radio and telephone equipment, as well as logger recorder functions. Computer-assisted dispatch systems use one or more servers located in a central dispatch office, which communicate with the computer terminals in a communication center, or with mobile data terminals installed in vehicles. There are a multitude of CAD programs that suit different department needs, but the fundamentals of each system are the same. They include log-on, log-off times of police personnel, generating and archiving incidents that begin with a phone call from a citizen or originate from personnel in the field, assigning field personnel to incidents, updating incidents, and logging those updates, generating case numbers for incidents that require an investigation, timestamping every action taken by the dispatcher at the terminal. In an ideal setting, a call is received by a call taker and information about the call is inputted into the CAD template. Simply put, location, reporting, party, and incident are made fields that have to be populated by the type codes. For example, if there was a burglary in process, the type code for that incident would be BURG. So when burg is typed out, then the program will spell out burglary in process. If the location was at the 1400 block of Madison, then the type code would be 14 MAD. The reporting party information would be populated by the call taker, including last name, first name, callback number, etc. This is what the CAD does for us at our 911 center and how it serves the residents of Lorain County. I can also share when this contract came up a few weeks ago, our 911 director, Harry Williamson, and interim IT director, Dave Welch, got to work quickly, going over the contract to check it for accuracy, as far as are we receiving and using the software to its fullest potential, and are there things in the contract that we don't use and should be taken off. I want to thank them for their thorough review of the contract, and I would also like to add that there will be a presentation from our representative at Tyler New World in the coming weeks. I was told that Tyler made a presentation to our previous 911 director regarding this, and those recommendations never went up the chain at the county for consideration from fellow board members. I look forward to the presentation and sharing my report with my colleagues on the board and their report. I would like the public to know today that this impacts the health, safety, and welfare of our residents of Lorain County. Our dispatchers are their lifeline on the phone when they are calling for help. We as a board are being proactive and will keep the public updated on the ongoing pursuit of the latest technology at our 911 center. And then I have one last thing. Thank you. I'm sorry I was long-winded with that, but I wanted to explain it. And then one last thing, I would like the public to know that in my 5th week of being your county commissioner and board president, I pride myself in coming to work every day for the residents of Lorain County. In doing so, I have observed a staff that is committed to following the COVID-19 protocols recommended by our Lorain County Public Health Commissioner, David Covell. The employees have done an excellent job with regards to masking up and social distancing, and I am confident we will all stay committed to doing our part in the workplace. That concludes my report.
I think the fact that she sits between us, Commissioner, and says that she's long-winded, I think that's mild, don't you think?
Oh, my gosh. I don't have any comment on that. If I could, Madam President, you mentioned about 911. I guess I just want to make the board aware. I got a call yesterday from Sheffield Village Mayor John Hunter, and he is having concerns about a simulcast repeater that was in process, and I had a conversation with Vasu Communications. They're indicating to me that putting that repeater up on the tower, even though there's discussions about a new mark system that the state is pushing to come into other counties, that it really doesn't, have any impact because our communication system obviously has an adapter that matches with whatever the communication receiving is on the other end. So I just think that's important that we get that processed so that repeater will help address a safety concern that exists in Sheffield Village, but also in southern Avon. And I think the expenditure was somewhere in the neighborhood of about $27,000. But I just want to make sure. I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Williamson about it, and had a conversation with Vasu yesterday. But I know the mayor is very much wanting to see that happen and to get that done, because apparently we have an issue in that area with signals getting out.
And just to add to that, there are discussions on this repeater and old technology versus new technology, in which direction we are wanting to go. And Administrator Williams, would you care to speak to that?
Yeah, if I could put my engineering hat back on, had it off for a couple weeks. Actually, it is old technology. It's talked with the contractors. There's no guarantee that that's going to work. So going through spending $27,000 putting it on there, I think would be a mistake. And as the commissioner alluded to, with the state potentially making a change and going to a different system, potentially the MARC system, my recommendation on this would be to wait until we hear from the state and come up with a system that's going to actually work. Going through putting a repeater on, best guess, it may provide some improvement, but it's not going to fix the problem.
Administrator Williams, from what I understand, we aren't just talking about the Mark system. There are actually 3 different brand-new systems that we're talking about. So we could spend $27,000 and put this repeater up there only to have it to be old technology in 6 months. 6 months, is that correct?
That's correct. Again, what we should do is actually, and Director Williamson at 911, I know he's having actually meetings with the fire chiefs. We should actually talk with them and then talk about the different systems that they're looking at, and then get something that will actually work for the entire county.
But just so everybody's aware, because I know I wasn't hallucinating yesterday.
I'm sorry?
I said, just so everybody's aware, that I had a conversation with Alan Vasu yesterday, and just what you presented, he completely contradicted. He certainly said that it would still benefit. He did say it would not be outdated at all. And he said regardless of whether the state goes forward with the MARC system or not. It's my understanding a MARC system is in, I think, 77 out of our 88 counties. I thought it was also the understanding that there were reservations on the part of first responders in Lorain County about having to be forced to convert to a MARC system. But he told me just the exact opposite, because I said, I don't want to invest in something that's going to be a dinosaur, outdated. And he said that won't be a problem.
Yeah, when we had the conversation, he told me the complete opposite. Now, it could change on it
Maybe
once
he should
I
make a
had that
presentation.
conversation with him, and he looks at,
Yep.
potentially he's going to lose $27,000. Yeah, that could potentially change his viewpoint. Again, I wouldn't recommend going through and doing the spend on it. We should at least have a conversation with the individuals, and no disrespect to Mr. Hunter, but I think talking with the fire chiefs would be a more appropriate group to talk with.
And Mr. Williams, I think when we're talking about being outdated, there are, I believe, at least three different radio systems that are being floated out there. So if you put the investigation that I have done along with Director Williamson and Russ Scarborough over at 911, they've done excellent work on this. If you put this repeater up and you change your radio system, that repeater is now obsolete. So if there are discussions, like you said, with the fire departments and they are going to want to change to a new radio system, why would we choose to spend $27,000 right
If I can
here?
just clarify, it wouldn't be obsolete, but you're going to be using a different system. Therefore, there is no need for that system because you'll be on different radios.
Okay.
So, again, I don't want to get into a debate up here with it. I just think the individuals that are using the systems, and the chiefs have meetings. I believe this was supposed to be a talking point for them in January. I'm not sure if they had that discussion or not, but if we reach out to the chiefs and we find out what they're looking at, and if they come back and they say, hey, yes, we need the repeater, then we can have that discussion. But again, going back to it, the reason that we're looking at getting a repeater is because the system that they designed did not work. So they believe that adding this resistor, and it's the latest and greatest repeater, I said resistor, but repeater, doesn't mean that it's actually going to work. It's kind of like if you have let's just say a Wi-Fi signal issue in your house and you go through and you put a booster on there. You can put a booster in there, but if there's dead areas in your home, the booster is not going to work. So you're right now throwing money at something and just saying, I hope that this is going to improve it. It definitely can't make it any worse.
No, may I say something? How quickly are we going to have presentations in regard to this issue? Do you know, anybody?
Well, I'd like to have one soon, and I guess, also, Dave, so that, we're just not going back and forth on what we're being told.
Correct.
It would be nice to have, Vasu make a presentation. It'd be nice to get something, even in writing, and then, have the chiefs have some discussion, because I'm getting, I take good notes, I know that, and all the notes I had yesterday were contradictory to what you had stated. So let's get Vasu in here. I'm not an expert on repeaters and communication systems, so let's get them in here to explain, and let's have a conversation with the chiefs and figure out what they're looking for. But I'm not thrilled that the state wants to basically force this down their throats. I think it's going to end up being an unfunded mandate anyhow. They're trying to figure out how to pay for it. That's why they're seeking a grant. And yes, there are some fire departments that are looking, but it's even my understanding, just to caution everybody, that there are some fire departments more in the eastern part of the county, I think, that are looking for this initiative compared to, where Lorain and Elyria fits in too. So, and that's the challenge that we've always had with communication system, is everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but it's just my understanding that this repeater would not be obsolete, would not be outdated in a short time, and that it's something that we could move forward with, regardless of whether Marks ends up materializing or not.
Yeah, and again, I just want to say, as far as outdated, if you're going to a new system and you're not able to you're using different radio frequencies, then you just basically bought something you're never going to use. To your point, we do need to get the fire chiefs, and that's something that, from what I understand, was missing. And by bringing them in and getting their input, police, fire chiefs, and having them work with our 911 director and myself, we can put something, schedule a meeting, discuss it, and then do a presentation. I'm someone that likes to have target dates, so how about if we put something down for our first meeting in March, tentatively, to see if they can come in. Obviously, I got to reach out to them to see what their schedules are. I apologize to the chiefs that you're hearing about this from me over YouTube and not in person, but again, we want to work with you and make sure that you have everything that's needed.
Well, and to add to that, Administrator Williams, we have reached out to the president of the police chief, fire chief association. We have reached out a couple of times, and I think there was a little bit of phone tag going on. So I know that Director Williamson is trying diligently to set that meeting up.
Yeah, and absolutely. And again, just people know, Director Williamson is another dedicated employee. Last night, while I'm leaving, he actually called me. We were leaving at the same time from the office. So I know he has a lot on his plate. He's got a lot of ideas, and he's trying to make sure the communication is going out. So, but I will put that as a task for me to make sure that I work with Director Williamson. And again, we reach out to our safety service, police and fire chiefs.
Yeah, and through you,
Okay.
Madam President, to the administrator, I just, I view this as a safety concern. I don't know if I want to wait till March for a meeting. I mean, I think the sooner the better to have that meeting.
And Commissioner Lundy, we have been trying. I know he has been, I know the phone tag has been going on.
And also, on top of that, I was told by Vasu that should we even decide to move forward with a repeater, you're probably looking at another 6 to 8 weeks because they have to make sure that they get, I think, FCC approval when it comes to communication systems and changes. So, I'm just indicating, I just don't want this to get too far down the road, but the indication was that there's safety concern with this. I just want to make sure we get it addressed as quickly as possible and decide what path we're taking.
Yeah, again, this is just a target date to have something on the book. Obviously, if I can get something put together much faster, we will get that on the agenda. All right. Any other questions for me? Okay.
Thank you,
All right, thank
Administrator
you.
Williams. I appreciate it. And it's a good discussion today. So our next item is E, the clerk's report. Madam Clerk, please read the report into the record.
Next Tuesday, February 9th, and next Thursday, February 11th, we will start our budget hearings.
Okay, we don't need anything for that, right? No? And our next item is board correspondence. I move to waive the reading of the board correspondence due to a lengthy executive session we have scheduled. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yep.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, I move to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel issues, employment and new hires, board issues, and pending litigation. Can I get a second?
Aye.
Second. Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. I think we're ready. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Hung,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
We have returned from executive session and our meeting is back in session. I move to approve the personal summary sheet.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, we also have, for our last item before meeting announcements, just a little bit of housekeeping. So I am going to make a motion, I move to rescind the resolution that was introduced on the floor by Administrator Williams in the matter authorizing the expansion of the Lorain County Port Authority Board of Directors from 5 members to 7 members. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Or Mr. Petticord, would you weigh in for us?
Just so it's clear for people there, my feeling is it would be more appropriate and to provide notice as to the expansion of the board because it's a different matter than replacing the board members. I think the proper and correct way to do that would be to put this motion on the agenda by itself at a different time. So that was the purpose for the motion to rescind. Okay.
Any further discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, and then the last item are meeting announcements. Our next meeting, Board of Commissioners meeting, is scheduled for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. We hope you will join us. And since there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned.